Welcome back everyone to another ESO build video. Today is going to be the update to the Almost Immortal Warrior tank build. If you have not seen this in the last 4 or 5 years, you may have been under a rock, or maybe you're new. Either way, you're about to be taught how to protect your group with a very solid, extremely hard to kill tank with multiple variations to the setup. Every single one of them is, of course, almost immortal. Most times you won't die, but each one has its own adaptation depending on your group. So you can heal people, you can protect them with damage shields, you can buff their damage if they've got lots of lights and heavies involved, or you can buff their damage flat out with loads of penetration debuffs. There's lots and lots of different alterations to this, but effectively the build is pretty much the same throughout. You don't really have to change too many skills, you can just play it the same, just swap a couple gear options. But we're going to get into that when we get to the gear later. So first of all, of course, we're going to go into the stats. We're going to pop a potion first of all and put on one of our shiny buffs. We are on 12.7k max magicka, which is fine. We don't need a lot of it. We just need good recovery because our skills do not scale off of magicka amount. They scale off of health. But if we have lots of recovery, we can spam them more often. Now, our stamina is 19.8. There are options to change that. We'll go into that later. 48k max health, and the recovery just dripped off a little bit there. Hold on. There we go. We are on 2.4k mag recovery. Now I'm going to show you also later on how you can adapt that as well, because there are going to be options that will push you way over 4k, which is stupid if you apply yourself in certain situations, or effectively pushing more than 5k, but that, again, it's dependent on gear. Now, the crit chance is not important. The weapon and spell damage is not important. The resistances are, of course, but again, we're sitting on 32.9k resistances across the board. We're actually almost cap. We are 47 points away from cap, so we've got a lot of resists. But again, each individual variation of the build may alter that, so I'm going to show you how to change things just in case you need to. Now, 64 points into max health, Atronach Munderstone, flat health, and stamina food. Yes, the bug is still present on the character sheet. That's actually 5.5k almost max health and almost 5k max stamina. If you want to know what that is, very simple, this stuff here. 5.3, almost 5.4 in fact, and almost 5k stamina. Now, you can use this stuff if you want. This will reduce your stamina, so you have to be very comfortable with your survivability and sustain at the same time. Of course, it's hard to kill you, but if you get knocked down a lot, it's a problem. So watch out on your stamina. If you can manage it, you can put this stuff on. And again, if we pop our potion and put our buffs on, you will see that we are sitting on a stupid amount, actually. 3.1k. Now, just say for argument's sake, we're in a trial situation. We've got buffs and bonuses from the group. Bang this. We are now sitting on a whopping 3.3, almost 3.4k recovery. There are 2 champion point passives that can also contribute to this, which you can gain from a healer or add yourself, which will push that even further, almost to 4k. But again, remember, your stamina is lower. So while your health is going to be quite good, your stamina is going to be quite low. So you might want to switch your attributes a bit, but just bear in mind, of course, if you do that, your health-based skills will be less effective. So you can wiggle these stats as much as you like, but that can go really bloody high. But for the most part, flat stat food gives you the health and stamina that you need. The recovery is already high enough. When we get to the gear, you're going to see that we've actually almost got another 3200 recovery indefinitely, as long as we're getting hit by the boss or by targets that are affected. So again, that's going to be later, but that's hidden in the background. You won't see that on your stat screen. So while we sit there looking like we are actually on maybe 2.4 for the most part, we're actually not. We're actually sitting on a massive amount. We are sitting on, with buffs and bonuses, 2.3, 2.6, depending on whether our immunity to CC is active or not. It's a lot to take in right now, but just bear in mind our recovery is going to be feckin' massive. It's really high, which means we can use this more often, and now we're going to explain how those work. Now, first of all, Igneous Shields. Very simple. Bread and butter of the build. Third ability to unlock in the Earth and Heart skill line starts off as Obsidian Shield, morph it to Igneous. This scales off of your maximum health. It's there in writing. The higher your health, the bigger the shield. It helps shield you and your group, up to 6 people in total, and you can basically spam this because our mag recovery is so high. Also, of course, if you activate this, you get 3 seconds worth of major mending, meaning all heals that you do, anything that comes from you, sets, skills, glyphs, passives, bonuses, anything, all of those are enhanced. Dragon Blood is, of course, our main heal if we need it, but you don't spam this. This is very simple. Activate it when you need a heal, but don't do it too soon. If you do this at high health, you're going to get 33% of the missing health back. So if you had 10k health missing, you're going to get a 3k heal. Whoopee-doo. Terrible. But if you do this at low health, you get a bigger burst, and it can crit as well, and it scales off of your healing done and healing received. That's very important, by the way. Healing done bonus here from Major Mending does boost this. So if you activate this first, you'll notice that it's 38%, not 33%. Any other healing done bonuses do apply, and of course the minor vitality buff that you get from activating this set in the first place will also apply. So you can leave this running as a permanent buff to give you nice recovery bonuses and minor vitality, but if you want to take the big heal, shield first, heal second. Next up is our bread and butter taunt skill. Yes, taunt. In the Elder Scrolls Online, you will not get aggro, or threat if you like, from a target by your own choice, by doing anything other than a taunt. You can heal, you can damage, you can run in their way, and they'll hit you, and they'll run around the room hitting who they like. Might be you, might be someone else. But if you want to control it, the only way to do that is with a taunt. And no one is going to be able to take the aggro off you unless your taunt runs out or they taunt over top of you. So this is how you control the enemy. There is a video in my beginner's guide about this. I do show you how to taunt, what each one does, how to overlap them, how to work in a group, and how to manipulate range as well. It's not important for today, but this is how you hold on to the enemy. Do not let it run out. You can overlap it before it runs out to maintain that uptime. But if you do drop it, it's going to run off and hit someone. Don't let the boss go. Also, don't spam it. There's no need. Now, this is the first ability in the Sword and Board skill line, or One Hand and Shield as we call it. Morph it to Pierce Armor, not the other one. This way, you'll get Major Breach, reducing the enemy's resistances by 5948, and you'll get Minor Breach as well. Major and Minor stacked. 2974 resistances also. So you've got almost 9k resistances removed from the enemy that you stab. It lasts 15 seconds for both the debuff and the taunt. Keep this up 100% of the time. That way everyone else can do more damage and everyone else doesn't get punched in the face. Do not let your taunt run out. That may sound really, really over-explained, but honestly, you wouldn't believe how many people mess that up. It's one skill. You got one job. The rest of them are just fluff. It's nice to have, but you got to keep the aggro of the target. This is a new skill to the build. This was altered quite some time ago. Some people noticed, some people didn't. But go into Battlegrounds, by the way. Even if you lose, you get alliance points. You're going to need to go into the support skill line for this. This is here for a very good reason. Basically, Mistform got nuked, as you know. Mistform was on this build ever since the first release of this video, or build even. This build has been out for 5 years. It was the first one on my channel. Mistform has been used forever, even though some people laughed about it until they inevitably used it anyway. Just saying. Anyway, since that got nuked, and you can't use it actively in PvE now to mitigate loads of damage from bosses and such, and some of the awkward stuff, we're not using it. So if you want to be a vampire, you can. If you don't want to be a vampire, then don't. You are going to benefit from undeath passives if you're stage 3, but your abilities are going to cost you more. You can benefit from the sneak passive at stage 1, but your abilities are going to cost you more. Still fine. Or you can utilize the vampire stun if you choose to. That's always been an option on the build. If you're familiar with this build already, you know what I'm talking about. Go use it. Failing that, if you want to keep it simple, put this on. You don't even have to bloody morph it. Just put it on your bar. Ignore what it does as an active, never press it, and for being on your bar, the Almost Immortal Warrior has a permanent permafrost. You have major protection 100% of the time on this bar. Just slot it. You're now stupidly powerful. Now, the next slot is usually Bone Shield from the Undaunted skill line, and it still can be if you choose it to be. Go into the Undaunted skill line, pick up Bone Shield, morph it to Bone Surge. This is a stamina costing damage shield, equal to the same sort of strength as Igneous in some situations, depending on your health at the time. But the major point of this is that it actually shields you, based on your max health, of course, but others as well. Now, the difference to Igneous shields is, of course, one costs magical, one costs stam, and this one needs to be activated. This one can be cast and lands on people. This one, someone needs to take a synergy from you. If they do, they'll shield the group as well. Both the shields stack. Also, they'll take bigger heals. So this is a situational damage shield. So if you're low on magical resources, which you shouldn't be, you can use this, of course, instead. If you want both stacked, you can. Or if you're in a situation where there's lots of stack and burn scenarios and people can take this synergy off you actively, then it's great to use. Always had it on the build. Take it or leave it, it's up to you. But if you want to do something a little different, you can, of course, put Guard on. This has been used forever on lots of different builds, of course, but Almost Immortal Warriors never really had a place to put it on the bar. Now we have, because we don't have to use all these shiny things. Bone Shield is great in some situations, but because we've got the extra resistance and damage mitigation bonuses, we don't really need it for ourselves that much. So we'll put Guard on. Starts off as Guard, morph it to Stalwart Guard. You can use either morph, it's entirely up to you, but for the sake of the channel, since we have lots of different builds that do work together by design, you may want to slap this on an Easy Stalk in your group because they don't have Minor Force ever unless they use the Medusa version. They don't have Minor Force, you can activate this on them. They are now so much stronger because you take a lot of the damage they take. You kind of absorb the damage they take. And in the meantime, they've got constant crit damage. If they're 15 meters or more away, or sorry, if they break 15 meters, obviously the bar or the beam that you attach them will break. But if they don't and they stay close, then you're good. So this is a situational skill. You might want to put it on a healer, you might want to put it on another build, you might want to put it on something, it's up to you. But you give them crit damage or minor force while they are being protected by you. If you use the other morph, you both get a healing bonus. You're going to have those anyway because you've got buffs and bonuses from your group perhaps, but it's up to you. But there is a catch. You have to double bar it. So we've got it here as well. We're going to come back to that in a moment. If you don't use Guard, we've got another slot for that. Shield Discipline is important as hell. So powerful. So, one hand and shield skill line starts off a shield wall, morph it to Shield Discipline. Very, very simple. Activate this, you get 8 seconds worth of blocking. You run around, dodge roll, jump, whatever you like. Do a little dance if you want. Anything you're doing is exactly the same as it would be if you weren't blocking, but you are. Also, your sword and board abilities are free for that duration. So all your taunts are free. You're blocking for nothing. And yes, you can heavy attack from underneath it. So while Magma Shell is very, very nice to use and does make you borderline immortal for 10 seconds, you can still be stunned, you can still be CC'd, all that crap. And, of course, you still have to block big hits because you might fall over. This, if the enemy doesn't by default knock you over even if you're blocking, and you can stop the stun or the knockdown because you're blocking, this will allow you to do that. So you can res someone while using this and not be stunned, or you can simply just put the block on and just heavy attack the crap out of them. In comparison to Magma Shell, this actually performs better, unless you want to protect your group. It's really, really powerful. You're just holding block for free. Heavy attack, get your resources back, carry on. Really, really nice for oh shit moments. Back bar, very simple. This is an option. If you do have Guard on the front bar, you can have it on the back, because if you swap bars, it falls off. Got to double bar it. But if you're not using Guard, say for example you're using Bone Shield, then of course you can use this from the Undaunted skill line, which has been on the build forever as well. Sanguine Altar. Starts off as Blood Altar, morph it to whichever version you like. This one just lasts longer with a slightly smaller heal. The other one has a larger heal with a shorter duration. Obviously it costs more health too. This is simple. It's on the ground. Every time anyone hits any enemy inside of this area of effect, they will heal once a second, yourself included. And if they go low health, they'll get a synergy, and they can take the synergy and heal themselves for 40% of their maximum health. So this actually is like having their own built-in Dragon Blood, once every 20 seconds, because that's the synergy cooldown. Very simple. Put it on the ground, leave it there, it runs out, put it down again. Doesn't cost you any magicka, just health, and we're huge with the health department, so it's fine. Next up is Unstoppable Brute in the Heavy Armor skill line. Now, this is very simple. It's a resistance buff. Major resolve. There's lots of different ways to get this. Yes, of course, there's a Dragonknight skill that does this, but that costs magicka, and having to keep recasting a magicka ability all the time while you're trying to utilize your recovery for this and this can get a little tricky. So we use a stamina ability on purpose. Bear in mind, of course, when you activate this for the first 6 seconds, you'll be very slow. So if you do need to move quickly, either wait to activate it and get out of trouble first, or if you have activated it and the 6-second timer is still running, use a dodge roll. You cover more ground even if you're slow. But during that time, you are immune to other snares, stuns, and roots. It's very, very important. And of course, this being used reduces the cost of break free. So it's really, really nice while you've got this active. If you do get stunned, you can break out quickly. Yes, I know the first 6 seconds you can't be, but for the rest of the duration you can. Now, again, while we have this as a stamina ability, it gives us more magicka freedom to use other stuff. You don't have to use that if you don't want to, but if you are good at the Almost Immortal Warrior, you will love it. It's very, very nice. Next up is Inner Rage. This is our range taunt. Yes, that's right. This is for long range. The stab is for short range. But the stab carries a debuff. This doesn't. While this does have a synergy attached to it, which people can take and make a big boom in the room, you have to be aware that while you may taunt something from range and it will come to you, you will need to stab it when it gets there. Just bear that in mind. Unless other people have got resistance buffs and debuffs in the group, in which case you're all good. But that's how you get attention of a target at long range. And of course, we've chosen this morph on purpose because this is Magicka, while the other one is Stamina. Which means no matter how bad your resources are, you can still have one of your bars to be able to apply aggro. You need to taunt to keep the attention of the enemy. If someone sits there and goes, oh, I'm out of stamina, oh, I can't taunt. Well, first of all, you could have heavy attacked. Secondly, Ignis Shield's coming up later for passives. We'll get into that later. Thirdly, it's Magicka. So if one bar isn't ready, the other one will be. Please don't run out of stamina. It will hurt. Now, next up is Unrelenting Grip. Very, very simple. This is your chain ability. And for those that have been saying this for God knows how long, no, chains do not taunt. Read the skill. It doesn't bloody taunt. And soft taunt is not a real thing. What people mean is aggro. So, threat. Other MMOs is quite simple. There's a threat counter. The tank tries to apply as much as they can, while other people could out-aggro them. This game, it doesn't apply. This game, you apply a taunt. A chain, however, pulls the enemy to you, if they can be pulled. So this is your chain ability. That positions stuff, so you can then taunt it afterwards. There is a set in the game called the Tormentor that allows this to be a taunt. If you're not wearing that set, this is not. If you hit something first, it's probably going to hit you first. That's all that's happening when people are trying to use chains or light attacks or heavy attacks or any skill in the game. If you piss off the enemy first, you are likely to get hit. That's not a soft taunt. You've just made them aware that you're in the room. If you stab the target with a taunt or use a range taunt or an ice taunt or anything like that, that is how you actively control stuff. If you think chains are a way to taunt something, you don't understand aggro properly in the first place. Anyway, pull stuff in and then pin stuff up. Choke and Talons, very simple. Draconic Power skill line, second ability to unlock. Morph it to Choke and Talons because this one applies a minor maim, which reduces all damage done to the enemies caught in these spikes by 5%. This does affect bosses as well. They can't be immobilized, but the minor maim does persist. So just bear in mind, while this is a 4-second root and a 10-second mitigation or damage reduction debuff, it does apply to bosses. So this is simple. The chain follows a stun cooldown. So the enemy is effectively stunned if you pull them in. They don't stand there and wobble like someone who is stunned. They do actually consider the cooldown. So you can't stun them afterwards, basically. But this is an immobilize. So you pull them in with a stun CC ability and you chain them and put them into Talons, which is an immobilization CC ability. Stun and immobilize are different. There's a video for that in the description as well. But chain them, pin them, stab them. That's your job. Chain them in, pin them up, stab them, don't let them go. Don't be manipulated by people that keep trying to tell you that chains is a soft bloody taunt, because it fucking well is not. Warhorn. Excellent. This is very important, but you don't have to use this ultimate if you don't want to, because you might be trying to do something else with your group. You might be trying to apply one of the other versions of the build, which is for protection or heals or whatever. But if you want to just pump out some damage for the group, or help them pump out some damage rather, go into the Assault skill line, get Warhorn and morph it to Aggressive Warhorn. This will give everyone higher max Magicka, higher max stamina for 30 seconds, so 10%. And it will increase their critical damage by 20% for 10 seconds. So they are two staggered buffs, but you can obviously use this at opportune moments. So when you want to go for a burn, or maybe just when you've got it active, it's up to you. Some people can build ulti really fast, some people don't and just save them for later. But this is your DPS increase to your group. Also, bear in mind, of course, if you did want to go to any other ultimates, you can, of course, use Barrier, which is scaled off of your max resources, so your stamina or your Magicka. So if you have a high pool, it can be stronger, but it's also very, very nice to use and does give you a bonus in the passives. We'll come to that in a moment. And, of course, if you really wanted to, you can, of course, go with Magma Shell, which will actually... No, I haven't even unlocked it. Beauty of being on PTS, you forget to get your skills. But here it is. This will allow you to give a damage shield to your group, 100% of their health, and it's for 12 seconds, so it's pretty substantial. In the meantime, you'll only take 3% damage of your maximum health per hit, regardless of what it is, unless it's a one-shot. So that's your Immortal button that protects your group. That's your buff for your group for damage, and of course, you've got your protection one as well if you want to give them some damage shields over time. You can go for any other morph of that you like, but I like to go with the healing one. So, what do we do from here? Well, we need to understand passives. So passives are very important. We're going to glaze over them nice and quick, but there are some very, very solid ones you do need to understand. Basically get them all, but we're going to go through them. So this increases the damage of your burning and poison status effects. We are going to do poison. Poison damage is going to happen. We're using a set that does poison damage and heals us. Every time you apply a brand new poison status effect, you will get back 1,000 stamina. Same applies to burning as well if you do burning status effect. We are going to do that all day. We are not going to run out of stamina anytime soon. That was buffed to fucking back, and it's really, really nice. Not to mention, of course, we have stronger poison status effects than anybody else. This will slow enemies down when you use a Ardent Flame ability. So when you do chain them, they will be slower. Then that gives you an opportunity to pin them up. This increases the damage of Fiery Breath, Searing Strike, and Dragonknight stand abilities. We're not using that, so don't worry about it. But if you want it, take it. Maybe you're using some other skills later. And this increases the damage of your poison and fire attacks. Bear in mind, the set we're using is poison. That increases the damage it does. That's relevant for later. Listen very carefully. It increases the damage it does. That's not a DPS increase like most people think it's going to be. That's going to be another benefit. Anyway, moving on. This increases the amount of damage you can block. This increases your healing received while you have a Draconic Power ability active. So, this increases your healing received with Minor Vitality by 8%. This increases it by 12% for having this active. You just double dipped on 2 bonuses. Very nice indeed. Keep it active. This increases your health recovery for each Draconic Power ability slotted. We have one on the front bar. We have one on the back bar. We've got 5% recovery all the time. If you're a vampire, it's irrelevant. If you're not, then great. Also, your ranged abilities are 2 meters longer than most. Any 5 meter range ability. So light attacks, melee based skills, all of those are 5 meters. For us, it's 7. So you can step back a little bit. You don't have to be up the enemy's nose. This increases your physical and spell resistance for both. Obviously, both types. It used to be a lot higher than this for spell resistance, but now it gives you both, so they squished it a little bit. Very nice passive indeed, though. This is important. Increases the duration of your Earth and Heart abilities. If it's not dead yet, of course, your damage shield lasts longer. This will give you 51 health, 50 magicka, and 50 stamina for every single ultimate point cost of your ability that you use. So if you do use an ultimate, you get a crap ton of resources back. So don't sit on a 500 ulti bar for God knows how long and not use it. This will give you resources back. It's really, really handy. It keeps you in the fight, or it just keeps your ultis flowing with no negative effects. It's always really good to get this passive. Don't leave home without it. Even with small ultimates, because they did buff this a bit, it's very, very beneficial to use. When you cast an Earth and Heart ability, you give everyone else Minor Brutality, so 20 seconds worth of increased weapon damage, which is really handy. And if you are in combat, once every 6 seconds, if you fire an Earth and Heart ability, you will get 3 ultimate, meaning if you keep this damage shield up, quicker than its duration, actually, because the duration is 8 seconds. If you apply it once every 6, you constantly build ultimate. And the final one, every single time, with no cooldown, every single time you cast an Earth and Heart ability that is not stamina costing, you will get 990 stamina back. So if you do poison damage with a new status effect, you get 1,000 stam back. If you do cast Igneous Shields, you will get 990 stamina back. So let's just say, for argument's sake, you applied a poison status effect at the same time as you cast Igneous Shields. You just got 2k back, and all it did is cost you magicka. That's nuts. Very helpful indeed. You'll get to grips with that later. Hopefully, if you try it out and you start pressing buttons, you'll see the actual effects of it. It's solid. Sword and Board is important. Get every single passive. They help you for your block mitigation, your movement speed while blocking. They also help with damage for that particular skill line, although that's not important, but it does carry a block bonus with it. All of these are relevant. Make sure you get them, especially this, because bashing is cheaper. Heavy armor. We are using all heavy armor apart from one version of the build that does have a light armor piece. The reason that version has a light armor piece is because we want to take advantage of the reduction to cost and recovery. Very handy to have. It's not the end of the world if you don't have it, but it's pretty nice. And of course, you want to get the other passives while you're there if you want to. But we're only using one light piece in one version of the build. The rest of the time, we're 7 heavy. You want to make sure you get all of these passives. They increase your resistances. They increase your health recovery and return while taking damage once every 4 seconds. They increase your maximum health, and they increase your stamina and magicka return from your heavy attacks. And of course, we've got healing received bonuses as well. Each piece contributes to all of this. And yes, of course, you've got some pluses and minuses to heavy armor. But above all, these make you very, very strong. It's really hard to kill you. We are, of course, not using any Fighters Guild abilities, Mages Guild, Sigic, Thieves, or any of that, but we are using Undaunted. This is important because every time you pick up a synergy of any type, you get 4% of all 3 resources back. That keeps you in the fight. And, of course, this increases your maximum health, magicka, and stamina for each type of armor piece worn. We're using one type. We're just using heavy. But if you do use the one light piece variation of the build, then, of course, you'll get 4% here. Yes, I know it looks on paper like you've just gained more health. You haven't. You removed one heavy piece, removing 2% health. You replaced it with a light piece, increasing 2% health. You're the same. You might have a slightly altered magicka and stamina resource, but your magicka resources are so low it doesn't make any difference, and your stamina is always around 20k-ish anyway. It's not going to make a massive impact on that. There's a really big bonus when you've got a bigger bar, but the choice is yours. Support. Very important. Not only is this a major protection buff, it also gives you 10% recovery for being on the bar. 10% recovery for each one of these skills placed. Now, of course, while we've got guard there, that's another 10%. And yes, if we wanted to put our barrier ultimate on the front bar and block ulti on the back bar, which you can do with one of the setups, that's another 10%. So we've now got 30%. Or if you really wanted to, you could swap guard for Purge, just in case you were doing that in your group. Maybe you're cleansing stuff for people. That's also a 10% bonus if you were to slot it anywhere. Even if you replace this, you still get the bonus. It's really bloody handy. These are not so important because they're for PvP. But this one, increase recovery, nuts. So let's just say for argument's sake, we're in a fight right now. We've got our buffs and bonuses on. We now have 2.8k recovery with flat magicka, stamina, and health food. If we went for the other food, then, of course, we're sitting on something completely bloody different. Do this. 3.6. That's bonkers. And yes, that can go even higher. We've still got more room for that. I'm going to explain it in a moment. Now, got a few more passives. Alchemy will go to first. Medicinal use all day long. Get alchemy up to max. Dump all your points and just leave 3 points in medicinal use. That way, your potions last 30% longer. We're using tripods, which give you health, magicka, and stamina back in one pop. And at the same time, it will give you 47, not 37, 47 seconds worth of magical recovery, stamina recovery, and health recovery that stack with our minor bonuses. This is very important. Do not let your potions run out. You want that bonus all the time. As soon as it's ready, pop it. Keep the recovery bonus up. They are consumable buffs. Don't let your buffs run out. We are Imperial. Biggest health bonus in the game. Biggest stam bonus in the game. And reduction to cost for every single ability that we use for stamina, magicka, or ultimates. Flat out tough as fuck. Get it. You can use any race you like. There is no right or wrong, but this is solid. If you want to use Orc or Nord or anything else like that, it's absolutely fine. Just bear in mind what you may lose or gain in order to alter your build for that. So the Nord has more resistances. You might want to drop some reinforced pieces or maybe a champion point passive. Orc has more speed, but nice health and stamina, but just bear in mind you don't have the reduction to cost. Lots of things to consider. Any race will do. But Imperial is solid. Now, of course, we're going into the gear, and we're not going to do it the usual way. We are going to do it a little bit different. We are going to use the armory system so you can see just what you can do with this new perk in the game. Now, everyone gets the armory system for free. You don't have to buy it. You can just put it in your house. But if you want the merchant to come with you in dungeons, then of course you can buy him and use it on the fly. Bear in mind, you can't use it in anywhere that has a score. So veteran trials, veteran arenas, where a score is applied, it wouldn't be fair for people that don't necessarily have the merchant with them to be able to change out, because that's an advantage, isn't it? So they've done it on purpose for the time being. But anywhere else that doesn't carry a score, even speed runs for dungeons and all that kind of stuff, vet dungeons, normal dungeons, anything like that, you can use it. So that's how you use it on the fly. But we're going to use it here. So, very important stuff. I have given you a full rundown of skills and passives, and I'm now going to show you the build itself, finished off, if you like, with the gear applied. But there are options. There are always going to be options. So, I'm going to show you 4 different variations of the build, which you can swap and change whenever you like, on the fly, of course, if you've saved it. But this will This will probably satisfy multiple different people rather than just one type, because one type of person might like to be a big chunky tank, one might like to be chunky but can't bring buffs and bonuses when they wish they could, one might try to heal people but not quite know how to do it. Well, this is going to have everything covered. So if you look at the skills at the top there, you may be familiar with the skills that I've already shown you earlier. So that is the main setup. And as you can see here, we've got Leeching Sword and Board on the front bar. So sturdy on the shield, charged on the weapon. Yes, you can go with a Crusher. Obviously, that's not going to have as much impact as an infused one on a back bar weapon with a two-hander type, but it's still going to be impactful nonetheless, so you can go for that. And since penetration is so easy to apply now, you don't need that much. Back bar glyph really doesn't matter. You can use whatever you like, but make sure you're charged on both bars. The reason you want to be charged on both bars is because the Leeching set gives you health, healing received, and health again, but if you take damage, you will put a poison cloud under the enemy. Every single enemy caught inside of that will take damage every 1 second for 5 seconds, and it can be applied again straight after. So 100% uptime if you like. Guaranteed to fire. You just have to get hit. You're a tank. You're going to get hit. And every single tick of damage that you do will return to you in health. That may look really, really low, but it's not. Because when you apply Igneous Shields, when you apply your Dragon Blood, and you have these massive bonuses to healing done and healing received, this stacks up. Plus, we do more poison damage, which means the harder it hits, the more the heal. And also, with this being a poison tick every single second in area of effect, every single time you do any damage with this, you can, by chance, and much more now with 240% status chance, you can apply a poison status effect. Which means every single one of those that fires with a 0.5 second gap will give you stamina back. You can borderline perma-block, but you need your status chance up. So you want your champion points in, and you obviously want to get this. If you don't have it, it's not the end of the world, but it will help. Now, we want this on the 2 pieces on the sword and board. Bear in mind, that's a quest item you can get there, by the way. That's a talking shield. Go into Imperial City Prison, do the quest. You'll get the shield. This is a basic one, but that's the easiest way to get a shield. And we're using 3 body pieces. So a head, legs, and feet. Doesn't matter where they live. You can use any. Put them in the shoulder or whatever. Put it where you want. But you've got to have 3 pieces on the body. We are using a shoulder piece for a monster set, which is Lord Warden, which gives us resistance. So all we're doing there is just getting the resistance bonus to plug the gap. So we've got reinforced on the helmet and the shoulders, and we've got reinforced on the chest using Bloodlord's Embrace. This is where the rest of your magical recovery comes from. If you bash the target, no, you don't have to interrupt them. You just have to apply 1 bash. This will stay with the target forever until they die, unless you bash something else, and it will go to them. Basically, it carries a curse. Every single second that you take damage from that target, you will get 1.6k back in Magicka. Bear in mind, recovery is calculated every 2 seconds. So if you're constantly taking damage every second from that boss or target or whatever, that's you effectively increasing your mag recovery by 3.2k. On top of the already 3k that we almost have anyway. So we're talking 6k recovery. That is nuts. You can spam Igneous Shields all day long. You are never going to run out of Magicka. You are never going to stop protecting your group. You are never going to run out of stamina because your Earth and Heart passive is popping off left, right, and center. This is mad. So, while we've got a mythic item, of course, we can't have a full monster set on. So if you don't want this, you can, of course, go with a full monster set. If you do want this, then you can't. The other set is Gallonway. You don't need Perfected for this. It just gives you more health. 1 piece more health. The rest of it, you can get on normal. Don't worry about that for now. If you want to go Perfected, go for it. If you don't bother. But this will increase your health, give you reduction to damage taken, healing taken increase, and if you block, you empower 11 other allies within 15 meters for 3 seconds, increasing all of their light and heavy attack damage they do. And this can happen once every 2 seconds. So basically, you can have 100% uptime and empower for your entire group. All you have to do is get hit and block. So if you're getting hit and blocking, while spamming Igneous Shields and getting your stand back that you used while blocking, while using poison status effects to get back your stamina, while healing yourself to hell and back for getting hit, basically, your whole group is buffed 100% of the time and you can perma-block. You've got other stuff to do, sure, but this works. Now the fun part. I'm going to change the build. As you can see there, different skills. Not too much. We've already been over these in the skills section. Sanguine Altar on the ground makes Winter's Respite, which we've now got on instead of Gallonway. Put a healing circle on the ground. Anyone standing inside of it gets healed every 2 seconds. And if you're spamming Igneous Shields, the heals are bigger. You're healing them. They're happy. They've got damage shields. It's win-win. But because we're not using a 5-piece and a 5-piece on the front bar, we've got an option for a full monster set. So you can use Stonekeepers, or you could use Lord Warden, or you could use anything you like. It's entirely up to you. But we keep the same chest. We keep Leeching on the sword and board. But on the back bar, instead of having double Leeching, we have 1 piece of Winter's Respite. We've got 4 pieces on the front to keep the 4-piece bonus. When we do swap, we then can apply 1 skill. Very simply put, this is what happens. Big healing circle. That only happens on the back bar. We only need the set on the back bar. Easy peasy. You've got barrier on there. You've got block ulti. You've got all your protective stuff. This is your healing version of the build. This will be on the website. Don't worry if it's confusing. Pen debuffing. Let's open this build, shall we? Same build. Very similar skills. Sanguine Altar on the back. Bone Shield on the front. You can use Guard instead if you want. Use it exactly the same as this. No real change to the way you play. But Leeching. 5-piece Leeching. No Bloodlord's Embrace this time. And you've got a full 5-piece Crimson Oath. But this is slightly different. If you apply any skill that applies major or minor buff to yourself, you apply a 12-meter radius debuff, which is stronger than Alkosh ever was in the past. And it stacks with Alkosh, which is now stronger than it ever was. So this is bonkers. And also slightly overkill. You might even need it in your group. Because while you've got this, we've also got Tremor Scale, which reduces the physical resistance of the target if you taunt. And we've also got the Crusher on the front. This allows you to play exactly the same way, but instead of providing Empower to your group, you strip resistances. And as you can see clearly here, I've labeled it, 15,699 pen debuff. That means you are only 2.5k away from cap if you join the group with this tank in the room, which is easy. That's a passive in your champion points and a sharpened weapon, basically. And I don't mean a two-hander. Easy. And finally, group resistances. The protection version. This one's damage shields all day long in power. This one's heals and damage shields all day long. This one's damage shields all day long and debuffing. And this one is your group resistance bonuses. Are they all squishy? Are they? Bless them. We've got a damage shield on the back bar with magma shell so we can protect them. In the meantime, just like the last build where you can go monster set, 5 Leeching, and another 5-piece set, we've got Grave Guardian. And what does this do? Well, simple. While you're holding block, everyone in this circle, everyone, including yourself, so we are way overkill, ends up getting a massive resistance bonus. So, as you can see here, Lord Warden, if you get hit, you'll give the group 3180 resistances for standing in the circle. Grave Guardian, 4430, 7610 resistances for your entire group. If they're carrying a resistance buff as well, they've got so much. Everyone's tanky as hell. So it's the same build, but so many different ways to approach it with little change as far as application is concerned, but different sets. How cool is that? No, I don't expect you to have 4 different versions of the build, but for those of you who have different ideas about what you want to bring to the group, you can do it all. So, champion points. We're going to go here first of all. As you can see, I will put this on the website. Each version has a different champion point set up slightly as far as the blue stuff is concerned, because some have more resistances than others and so on and so forth. But it's all going to be there anyway. Don't worry. Go back to this dude. He's the main one. Obviously with his classic style. Yes, I've got a different costume for all of them. The only thing that is important is your slottables. Of course, you want to unlock these passive bonuses. Of course, crit bonus, max stat bonus. This is important, of course. You've got your martial status effect, which means more poison status effects. All this stuff is quite nice, but you'll get them over time. They are going to happen over time. You can't not get those. All you have to do is level up. But the important part is the slottables. Which ones do you put in? Well, I'm going to make it even simpler for you. What you need to do is you need to go to your armory, and I'll just show you from here. As you can see, champion points. Those are your slottables. That's what you want to go for. Treasure Hunter for extra loot. Rationer, obviously longer duration food. Liquid Efficiency will give you a chance to not use your potions. And Steed's Blessing will make you faster within non-combat situations. So you can run to one fight to the next quicker. Ironclad, Duelist rebuff, Bulwark, From the Brink, all that. You see where we're going with this. This shows the most important thing. That's it. And obviously each build, or each variation of it, does have a different, slightly different setup. Not all of them, but some do. And that one's got no green ones slotted because they're not important. But if you want to know where they are, these are your damage mitigation type bonuses down here. And there's a big sneaky one in here as well. This stuff here is absolutely mental, because it will give the group a damage shield for being low health and you heal them. So Winter's Respite on the ground, they take a heal. Or Blood Funnel on the ground, they take a heal. This works. The red stuff is easy. You don't even have to unlock stuff to get these three. And then you can go with this. This is very important, by the way. If you activate your immovability ability, that was difficult to say, you'll get recovery. Fabulous. And then the green stuff. Unlock the path to get to them and slot them. That's it. The rest of them you can get in your own time. These are all quality of life anyway. Simple as that. I know at first glance the champion points could look really confusing, but they're really not. Anything that is kind of a white star is a passive and stays with you forever, including all these mitigation bonuses. Even a DPS can get these. But the one thing that is important is your 4 slottable choices. Again, all of that will be on the website. All the different build variations and all the different champion point setups for each one. There's barely any change whatsoever, but the good thing is about the armory system is you never have to pay gold again to change it. All you do is you save your build, go out, change your build, go to here, save it again. Now you've got the old one and the new one. And all you have to do is press one button. It costs you no gold. Fabulous. Now, there is not much to really say apart from that. Demonstration-wise, do you really need to see it? Okay, we'll do it. So let's make things a little bit more interesting. Since you've seen the Hell Ra stuff all the time, yes, it's on vet. I mean, that demonstration is a bit boring now, to be fair. If you're new to the game, you might like it. But if you're not, then maybe you want something a bit more relevant. Can this do those trials? Yes, yes it can. Of course it can. It's built to do trials. Built to do everything. So, I'm going to bash him to make sure he's got the debuff. So I've got infinite magic sustain, basically. And then I just need to watch my resources for my stamina. In the meantime, we will block ulti, which we can block underneath it by doing nothing. Heavy attack from underneath that. Magical recovery for days. Purges and heals. How feckin' easy is that? Now, of course, this is a very extreme situation. You're never going to need to have to do this. But the fact is, you can. Purge on tap if I want it. Constant major protection. And I can heal all day long. Now, this is with one person. You bring 11 people in here like you're supposed to. Very different story. Easy peasy. Now, before we go, it is, of course, time for fashion. Now, I'm not going to show every single one of these because, obviously, there are 4 different variations just for the sake of demonstrating it with 4 different variations to the build. But, I mean, if you do want to know where this comes from and what we do actually use for the all 4 setups, then, of course, hit the comment section below and let me know if you want to see it. If so, I'll put it on the website. Now, in the meantime, of course, what are we using? Defined Prosecutor Helmet. This is already on the website, by the way. Wormcult Cuirass. We're using the Imperial 4 Heavy Shoulders. We're using Wormcult Gauntlets. Dramathra Girdle, so that's a heavy as well. Wormcult Heavy Legs and Wormcult Heavy Feet. The weapons on the front bar are, of course, Lord Warden Axe and the Shield of Sensual Shield. That was complicated. And the back bar really doesn't matter, but that is also on the website. That's a Zivkin sword, which actually is the same as the one that drops from Lord Warden, and a Morag Tong shield. Generally, I keep a different sword and board on the back bar, just in case I'm not looking at what I'm doing, so then you can still differentiate between the bars if you are familiar with your build. But the colors we're using are pretty much Void Pitch and any other black to kind of give it a bit of a grey, but you can use the Gates black, Falmore black, whatever you want. And the red to kind of set it off in the background is Daedric red. That actually two-tones a little bit in certain lights. But basically that's it. If you want to see the other stuff again, like I said, put it in the comment section. I'll see about putting that on the website. Maybe we'll start adding some more flavor to the fashion part of the builds. But, of course, thank you all very much for watching. Hopefully this helped you. If you do not understand the build still, of course, if you skipped, go back a bit. But it is on the website as well. I will put all the gear charts and everything on there just in case you're confused. But get into content and try it. Stab the target. Don't let it go away. Spam those igneous shields, keep your group alive. Very, very strong. Makes the healers heal the squishies rather than focusing on you. Anyway, thank you for watching. Huge appreciate support. If you are not subscribing already, please do hit that button. It is free. And of course, don't forget there's a join button there if you want to help on YouTube financially, and you can even get emotes for that you can use in the comments section. Not to mention, of course, in the description there are links outside the channel for Patreon, Twitter, Facebook, the website xynodegaming.com, which has now got a massive new news section so you can keep up to date and be the first to know when the new builds are done. And of course, check out Instagram and all that good stuff as well. All the links are there. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.